I'm sorry I've been so rambly today. I usually don't get so rambly. But yeah, I guess I'm just like trying to convey like where my headspace is at, like how I'm feeling, like how I'm doing. I feel like I was in like a very deep depression, like I was in a dark hole, and I feel like getting myself out of it was all about laying down different perspectives and thinking about the type of person that I want to be moving forward. And like I've said, like to me, like it's like I want to just stop all of the suffering. You know, like I obviously, like I don't want to talk a lot about like the case itself, especially without like, you know, speaking to my lawyer first. I think moving forward, I probably will like, you know, give a little bit more transparency just with like, you know, everything that's going on. But before I start doing that, like obviously I need to talk to my lawyer about it first, you know, since it's an ongoing case. But what I will talk about is, like I said, I'm going to talk about like what I am personally going through emotionally and how this is affecting me. Will you document everything and make a documentary about it, Queen? I don't want to set myself, like, I don't want to like, because I'm still not like really sure what's all going to happen, but in my mind I'm kind of like, you know, I'm gonna coast through the rest of this year. I'm still gonna fucking stream a lot like I always fucking do. You know, like I stream a lot and I'm really used to streaming. Like while I've been away for these 2 weeks, I feel like part of the reason why I fell into a bit of a depression was because I needed to be working. You know, but I feel like I also really needed the time to like sit with myself. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I've kind of been telling myself like I'm gonna coast through the rest of this year. Obviously, I'm still going to stream like my normal hours and work and everything, but I also want to make sure that I'm like enjoying the holidays with my family, you know? And I'm still going to do my Christmas subathon. Like, that's really important to me to do. And what I'm kind of planning for is at the beginning of next year, I'm kind of planning like, okay, how am I going to be able to keep ahead of these legal fees? You know, like, it's really important to me to stay ahead of these legal fees, or at least like not allow myself to get buried in them. And in order to do that, I'm like, I might just have to be live like next year, starting next year. I might just have to be live 24/7 to just like keep up with whatever financial harm is coming my way, you know? So that's kind of what I've been like mentally preparing myself for. So yeah, I may very well be just live. Well, I still think there can be a settlement, but you are doing what you can about that part. The thing that, like, one of the things that I've been, like, thinking about, like, a lot while I've been away, because I don't know, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've been doing a little bit of shrooming. I've been doing a little bit of shrooming. Like, I feel like a lot of people, they would be like, oh no, don't do shrooms. Like, you're in a really bad headspace. But I don't know, like, not in a braggy way, but I don't know. I'm very familiar with psychedelics. And whenever I do shrooms, like, I see it as like a very therapeutic opportunity to do like a lot of introspection. And sometimes like doing the introspection like that can be kind of like, you know, it can be like a bit bewildering. It can be a bit scary, but I feel like it can also help give you perspective and look at things like outside of yourself. So yeah, I've been doing like a bit of shrooming over like the past week or so. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is like really like the ego, right? Like I've been thinking about like the ego and my own ego and how seeing this through to trial, which I'm prepared to do, by the way. I am fully prepared to see this all the way through to trial if need be. But I also see that as placating my own ego too much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not so obsessed with my own ego and like the thought of winning that I want to burn $150,000. You know, because that's very well what the lawyer fees could be. And to be clear, these are lawyer fees. These are fees that are going to my lawyer, not to Ethan Klein, right? But so I've been thinking about how, you know, like if I want to be like ego driven and I want to like think about my own ego and winning, which that's what winning is about. It's about placating your own ego. Like I said, I am fully prepared to see this through to trial because I do believe that I am innocent. I think that what I did was react to a video that everyone reacted to. I took part in discourse that was going on that I feel like everybody was invited to do, right? Like, that's why so many people reacted to it, because it was political discourse that was going on, right? I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I feel like what I did was transformative. I was giving my opinion on, you know, the content nuke. And I think that what Ethan is doing is, you know, it's not about like, it's not about protecting his copyright. We all know that. It's about silencing criticism. It's about silencing speech. I am fully prepared to see this through to trial. You know, like, I can do that if need be, but if I don't need to do that, I don't need to placate my own ego by winning. Because I've been thinking about it a lot, and what this is all about is it's all about money, right? Me coming from poverty, you know, just burning $150,000 of crowdfunded, crowdsourced money just feels very fucking icky to me. You know what I mean? Like, I know what money is. Like, I know the value of money. I know what kind of suffering, you know, money brings to people. And the idea of me being somebody who comes from poverty, just burning through $150,000 to pay a lawyer to show that I am right, to show that I am innocent. At the end of the day, that is just placating my ego. And if I didn't have to go through all of the financial damage, because it's like I'm crowdfunding, you know, I'm asking for money from people who are struggling themselves, people who are on fixed income, people who are on disability. You know, like, I do not want to take from people if I don't need to, because I know the kind of suffering that finances are. And I don't need to placate my own ego to win, you know, because at the end of the day, the fucked up thing about this is, if I go all the way to trial and I win, which I think I would because I'm innocent and I did nothing wrong.
Angelici Sight just gifted 5 subs.
Thank you, Angelici. The fucked up thing about it is that I have to burn through $150,000. And I would set aside my ego to not do that. Because like I said, I know the value of that kind of money. I know, you know, like I know what I'm taking from. You know what I mean? So wait, are you winning or losing? If I go all the way to trial, there is no doubt in my mind that I would win, to be honest. But Ethan knows for me to go all the way to trial, I have to, you know, burn through $150,000, $200,000 in lawyer fees. That's why winning isn't winning. Winning is just placating my ego. And if I have to set my ego aside to not cause others financial harm by like helping me fundraise for this bullshit, then I'm fine with doing that. You know, I was thinking about it and it's like, if I placate to my ego and I go through all of this financial harm just to feel like I'm winning, you know what I mean? It's like at that point, I'm no better than Ethan Klein, right? Exactly, cutie cheeks. It's more about preventing the most harm. I would rather prevent the most harm than placate my own ego. If I were to just be like, okay, this is all about my ego and being right, which I think I am, by the way, you know, but if I just make this all about my ego, then how am I any better than him? Because what he does, like, he is so obsessed with his own ego. He is so into his own ego. Like, he cannot see past that at all. He is incapable of seeing past his own ego. And I don't want to be like that. To be honest, I've done way too many fucking psychedelics to do it anyway. I don't know. Like, let me tell you, there is no drug like ego disillusionment and like letting go of this obsession that we have with ourselves,
wow.
you know? I guess like as much empathy that I have for Ethan Klein, I would say I feel sorry for Ethan being so entrapped in his own ego. I could not imagine. I am glad that I am not this level of egocentric. You know what I mean? Like, I could not imagine being so ego driven that in order to placate my own ego, I will cause others suffering, you know, just to do it, just to play to my own ego. I pity somebody who has that kind of evil in their heart. You know what I mean? I think that that's where my empathy is for Ethan. I feel he doesn't even care about winning, just wants to see you go through the turmoil. Well, that would be winning to him. Seeing others suffer because he feels like he's suffered, right? It goes back to like that, like hurt people shit, you know? And Ethan Klein being so ego obsessed, all he can see is his own suffering. All he can see is his own suffering. He's hurt by his own suffering. So in order for him to win and feel like he has control, he wants to inflict suffering on others. That's why he is trying to do all of this extremely financially damaging stuff to me, Frogan, and Denims. He just wants to cause suffering. And, you know, this goes back to what I was just saying. I don't want to cause suffering. I don't want to cause suffering. Like, I don't want to live in a world where, you know, people want to cause suffering to other humans, you know? Like, I don't know. Like I said, I've been doing like a lot of shrooms and fucking marijuana and like doing a lot of meditation and reflecting. And I was talking to Joshua about it. And, you know, like, I feel like a lot of people in my situation, they would look at Ethan Klein and they would say like, you know, or feel these like awful things like, oh my gosh, I want to see him suffer. You know, oh, I want to see awful things happen to him. And I can't even bring myself to feel that way because I feel like that would even be giving him too much. You know, like, I don't want to dirty, I guess, like I don't want to dirty my, I don't know, like, morality by wishing harm on others. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe there's like a better word or better way I could like kind of describe it. But it's like he's not even worth me thinking like bad thoughts, you know? Exactly. Like, I don't want to dirty my karma, right? Like, I was thinking about it and I was like, you know, one of the ways that I can beat Ethan, though, one of the ways that I can beat him, like, sure, he has like millions of dollars and finances that I'll never have, you know, like, I don't know, like, I've been around like people with money like Ethan Klein, and it really is just like kind of bewildering, the kind of excess you'll see at the top and then the scarcity you'll see at the bottom, right? But I feel like the real way to beat Ethan Klein is to not be an egocentric maniac who just wants to do suffering to people because of your own suffering, right? Like, I'm suffering a lot right now, with the implications of what could happen to me. And if I were to project that suffering back on other people, like Ethan, or while I was on my mental health break, I would see like some of these posts of like Olivia and AB and like how
Glorial
what
just
they were going
subscribed.
through was
Casey
really
accept.
fucked up and awful and everything. And of course, like I looked at it and I was like, well, what about my suffering? Like, how dare you talk about your stupid suffering whenever I'm suffering in a much worse way, And I don't know, like, obviously I was mad, but then I took a step back and I was like, what is like, comparing their suffering to my suffering going to do? I was like thinking about it. I was really trying to do a lot of introspection. And I was like, what is AB's suffering? Oh, somebody said that AB's suffering was his DoorDash order being late. What AB is going through is really kind of fucked up whenever you think about it. AB is in this position where he's making, I'm guessing, like a pretty good chunk of money off of being on Ethan Klein's show, right? And this chunk of money is good enough for him to, basically just, I don't know, placate Ethan. I'm trying to think of how I can say it in a sensitive way that doesn't sound that I'm being like mocking. But, AB works for this H3 podcast and he's making, I would assume, like a pretty good chunk of money. But in doing that, he has to work for Ethan Klein and he has to constantly placate him. AB knows that this is probably the most fucking money he'll ever fucking make, right? He's not going to find another job where he can make money like this. So he has to basically placate this boss of his, and that's suffering. That's suffering. Like, I don't want to fucking live in a world where in order for people to make like a good living for themselves, they have to placate their boss's every whim. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up that that's AB's like best opportunity at making the most money. Like, why is it that there's not something else he could do where he would make the same amount? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. He works for a piece of shit, morals over money. And I see what you're saying, but even having to put money over morals is suffering. If I were in a position where I had to compromise my morals, which are very important to me, like I feel like a lot of us have morals that are really fucking important to us. And I don't know, maybe some people don't hold their morality as high as what some of us do. I feel like I hold my morality very high. Like it's like a characteristic of mine that I'm very prideful about, is I feel like I've always done really good at sticking to my morals. Maybe I haven't done it like perfectly, but I feel like I've done a pretty damn fucking good job. If I were put in a position where I had to compromise my morals for money that like I depended on, like obviously under capitalism, we all fucking depend on money. But if I were in a position where I had to sacrifice my morals for money, that would cause me so much suffering consciously. You know what I mean? Like I would be suffering with the guilt of it every fucking day. And I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. I don't know. Like, it would be unfair of me to, it would be unfair of me to say, like, oh, I know what he's thinking. Like, I know what I don't fucking know. Maybe he doesn't feel guilty about it at all. I guess I'm saying that you have to, like, also acknowledge that there's suffering that comes with that. Imagine if you had to put aside your morals. Like, there's a lot of suffering in that.
Let's be clear. Casey does sacrifice her morals for money. She constantly placates the gays, but we all know how she really feels about them. Wendy.
Do you not notice how I didn't respond to the comment? I was playing with random people from chat. Saying you're playing victim wasn't about the lawsuit. It was about you randomly coming at me and then saying I'm bullying you. My point is plain and simple. I'm not going to feel bad for you when you lie about my wife and say she is pro-Israel. I honestly, like, I don't understand, like, who these people are. Like, I don't know these H3 people. I didn't know his wife was Lena. She was the one that was supposed to fight in that creator clash stuff or whatever, right? And I don't know if I can't remember what I said, to be honest, but I apologize. I don't think that Lena is pro-Israel. I mean, I would hope that nobody is at this point. Like, shit. I'm not going to feel bad for you when you make light of my life and my struggles and then complain about yours. It's like, did he not see that, like, I apologized? Like, I am genuinely sorry for making light of his life and his struggles. Like I was speaking earlier, I really do empathize with the situation that he's in and the suffering that he's going through. I don't think that anybody should have to placate their boss in order to make, you know, the kind of money that he does. I think that it sucks that he's, like, put in a position where he's making more money than what he probably would at most other jobs, because most jobs pay shit. And in order to continue making that money, he has to placate everything his boss says, or he's risking his employment. I'm sure that really is quite the mental struggle, and I am sorry for making light of it. Like, I do acknowledge it as a struggle, and I empathize with it. You're wasting your time coming at me. The lawsuits have nothing to do with me, nor can I do anything about them. I do think it's unfair to say that you can't do anything about them. I think it would be fair for him to be like, yeah, boss, I think this is a little too far. But, you know, like I said, he's in a situation where he can't really do anything but placate the person who employs him. And I do empathize with that. Girls, stop this. No, like I said, I feel I don't want to be one of those people that's like all the empathy for me. You know, like if I'm doing, you know what, like all the empathy for me, my struggle is the only struggle that matters. Like I can't see other people's struggle because I cannot see past my own ego. I don't want to do that because that makes me no better than my enemy. I want to be better than my enemy. I want to allow myself the ability to be introspective and empathetic and see beyond my own suffering. But yeah, I do feel like I'm like, yeah, it wasn't fair of me to lash out at AB and Olivia and compare their suffering to my suffering, because suffering is suffering. And if I want my suffering to be acknowledged, I have to acknowledge other suffering, you know? And yeah, I think that AB is in a position that I wouldn't want to fucking be in. I wouldn't want to be in a position that he's in where I have to placate somebody like Ethan all the time. AB is gonna be fine. Is he though? Because like I said, like he knows that this is the most money he'll ever make, probably. You know, and I'm not like trying to like undersell him and be like, oh yeah, like after you fail at streaming and the podcast goes under, like you're gonna be flipping burgers. Like I'm not trying to like shame him like that or anything, but I'm pretty sure he worked like retail or some shit like that before he does what he does now. And he knows how much money, like it's like if you've ever had to work like fucking retail, and if you've ever had to work like retail and like know the kind of like work that you have to put in, like compared to like streaming and how much, you know, more money there is in it. I don't know, sorry, I'm kind of rambling. But yeah, I guess my point was is, you know, like, I'm not saying that to like be like a bitch and be like, oh, this is the most money you'll ever make in your life. I'm saying it because it's fucked up. You know, it's fucked up that the most money that he can make is from placating somebody like Ethan and working under him. You know what I mean? It makes me think of like how, like, just like in general, I guess, like how much talent goes to waste under capitalism. You know what I mean? How much talent goes to waste under capitalism, and how much more, I don't know, creative advancement and shit like that could be a thing had, you know, if we all didn't have to work under like fucking awful bosses. You're being too nice to these people, Casey. It's not even about like being nice though. It's not even about being nice. Like, to me, it's more so about like I was saying, like, some of these people, they want all of the empathy for themselves. They want all of the empathy for themselves. Like, me, 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 me. I think that that's how we've gotten into this situation with Ethan in general, is he's so ego driven. He's unable to see past his own suffering. He wants all of the empathy for him, right? And I don't want to be like that. I don't want all of the empathy for myself. I want the empathy to go around everywhere. Like, I want to stop the suffering as a whole. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of in like my hippy dippy like love arc, but I really do truly feel like the only way to overcome like hate and evil is by love. And that's not me like saying like, oh, love your enemy or anything like that. It's just like, do not allow yourself to be encapsulated in the hatred that your enemy is encapsulated in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want hate to be my driving force. Like, I feel like somebody like Ethan right now, their driving force is hatred, right? And I don't want that. I don't want that to be my driving force. Exactly. Like, I don't want to darken my soul on behalf of someone else. You know what I mean? Love that for you, but AB loves his current position. The only suffering he is experiencing is completely self-imposed. Even if it's self-imposed, suffering is still suffering. Like, a lot of suffering, you could say, is self-imposed, right? A lot of suffering is like self-imposed. Like, a lot of the circumstances that people find them in where they're suffering and hurting is technically probably could lead back to them, but that doesn't mean that it's not suffering. And I would also say, that AB does not love his current position. And I think that that's part of the suffering. Girl, AB doesn't give empathy to anyone either. He's chosen to work for and contribute to the podcast that has been slandering and attacking pro-Palestinian creators and spreading Zionist lies with no pushback. You will have enemies if you have an ideology. Not everyone is going to respond to kindness, empathy, and reason. I guess it's like, I'm not expecting him to respond either, though. Because if I were only giving empathy to get a response, to get empathy back, that goes back into feeding the ego, right? And I'm like really in like my psychedelic shedding of the ego phase where I'm like, I don't need to feed my ego, because feeding your ego is what keeps you from becoming one, right? You can't heal and fix everyone, though. I can try. I can try. And it's like, I don't think that I'm going to heal or fix AB or Ethan, but I don't know. That's like the type of person that I am. You know, I am always striving. I'm always striving for healing and helping. I just feel like that's the kind of like person that I've become and what I've fallen into. I consider myself to be a helper. You know what I mean? I do. I consider myself to be one of the helpers. Like that is something that is very important to me. I'm always going to help others as best that I can. You know, like, you know, just with like the marginal amount of success that I've gotten, I have literally used pretty much most of that success to help the other people that are close to me. You know, like there was a period, I mean, like pretty much all of last year, yeah, about probably $2,000 of which I made was going towards helping family. Like, and it's not like I make a lot. I mean, like it was probably more than 20% of my paycheck. Help and give empathy to those who deserve it. You can lead with empathy and kindness, but when people are continuing to cause harm, it just becomes a waste of time, in my opinion. Sometimes you need to respond back with that energy. I don't want to have that energy, though. You know? And I understand why people want to have that energy. I understand why. Like I've definitely, you know, I've had that energy. I'll have room for that energy, but I don't really want that energy anymore, you know? She's trying to not put into the world what is put onto her. No, exactly. Exactly. One of the things that we do as humans is we hide our suffering. We hide our suffering and we also project our suffering, right? And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to hide my suffering. I want to put my suffering and all of my struggles out there, but I also don't want to project my suffering, which is why I genuinely apologize for how I called out AB and Olivia, because they are suffering, obviously. You know, it's not my place to be like, oh, is the suffering valid or is it invalid? Suffering is suffering. You know, whether or not it's self-imposed is beside the point. You know, I don't want to be somebody who is like, all the empathy for me, all that, look at my suffering, give me all the empathy. Oh, what, you're suffering? Oh, well, my suffering is worse, so give me the empathy. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like a two-way street, and obviously you can't do it expecting something back. Like, I can't give my empathy to others expecting them to give me empathy back, because then it goes back to the ego. You know, I can't give empathy just based straight off of ego and my ability to maybe get something back from my empathy. You know, I have to give AB my empathy without expecting him to be empathetic back towards me, you know? And like, but you see what I'm saying? But if I were only giving him my empathy to get empathy back, that wouldn't be real empathy. That would be empathy out of ego. Suffering is very polarizing. And yeah, just like, I guess that's like another point of it, is I've just been thinking about like how ego-driven Ethan is, and how everything that he's doing is about the ego. You know, like him being like, my suffering is worse. Look at my suffering. Why won't anybody acknowledge the harassment I'm enduring, the suffering that I'm enduring? Nobody will acknowledge it. I'm suffering the most. Fuck your suffering. Look at my suffering. You know, like, I don't want to do that. Casey, better than me. I couldn't. It's not even about being better. Because that's also like, if I were only doing it to be like, oh, look at me, I'm better than, I don't hold hatred in my, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even doing it to be better, it's just doing it to be, I don't know. Suffering anyone? Sorry, I've been on it. So I'm going in circles. Like I said, my first day back from streaming is like always just like me kind of rambly, like getting back into my normal footing. I swear I'm usually a better streamer than this. I got caught off guard. No, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of you maybe want me like talking more shit and being madder. You know, mind you, I'm in a lawsuit, first of all. Second of all, like I said, I'm just like kind of on like my hippy dippy like arc, I guess. I'm on my hippy dippy like love arc. Like, love is so important. Love is the most important thing. Love is the only thing that's ever saved me. Love is the thing that's kept me alive. And I don't want to let hate for even my enemies block that out. You know what I mean? I don't care about Ethan's suffering. It's a direct result of his own actions. He's making the decision to triple down on all of the hate. To be clear, I didn't say that I cared about Ethan's suffering. All I said was that I acknowledged it. Or that I perceived it, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is whenever people were talking about like political violence for some reason. You know what else is violence? It's 90% of people choosing between food or medicine. It's running on amphetamines to survive 3 jobs. It's losing sleep caring for an elder who would be homeless otherwise. It's housing being more than half your income. Poverty is violence. I don't know. I've just been thinking about like all of the suffering. I don't know. That's been like kind of like a theme for me, I guess, for like the past couple of weeks, is just all of the suffering in the world right now. And obviously my suffering is nothing compared to some of the suffering that's going on. You know, like the devastation that's happening in Gaza is incomprehensible. It's really fucked up. Like the amount of suffering, of human suffering that we are seeing right now is unprecedented. And the thing that's so fucked up about it is it's not because of scarcity. You know, it's like there's really no reason for it. All of the suffering that's going on, it's not because of any sort of scarcity. It's not because it has to be that way. It's just happening because it's happening. You know? That is what I hate when it goes to lawyer fees when it could go to Gaza. No, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier about how, like, yes, I would set aside my own ego. I would set aside my ego for the sake of like winning, you know, if it prevented less suffering. And like, to me, money is suffering. So many people fucking suffer with money and finances. Like, I would say probably like 90% of people, a lot of fucking people, most fucking people, you know, are suffering with financial hardships right now. And, you know, financial hardships, they lead to even more suffering, even more violence. You know, like I think about how like financial hardships has made me go through so much suffering that I didn't need to go through. You know, like probably many of you being raised in like poverty, or maybe not even like just straight up fucking poverty. Even whenever you're middle class, like there's still financial suffering that happens, you know. But being in poverty, whenever you're suffering financially, it makes you want to use. You know, that's why, you know, I don't know, there's like drug addiction going around like in every, you know, like amongst the middle class, amongst the rich, like whatever. But I don't know. Like, I was just thinking about how, like, the poor circumstances that I was in whenever I was younger, it was what led my mom to use. It was what led my dad to use. And then it led my dad to go to prison, you know, and that fucked up his life. And because he had, like, a, you know, a felony on his record, then it's like he could never get a good job, you know. So then it's like we struggled as a family because it's like my family was never able to find good work because of, you know, the drug addiction, the going to prison. I don't know, just like, I don't know. I like I said, it's been a theme for me like the past couple of weeks. I've just been thinking about all of the suffering that's going on in the world and how a lot of the suffering is also ego related, right? I don't know. It really is just sick to me to think of like all of the money. And I don't know, like obvious, like I don't know. I'm not even like trying to like be like, oh, like pity party or anything like that. It's just that I realize the value of money, you know, and I understand the suffering that happens because of money. And that's why it's just so disgusting to me that all of this is just being like fucking set on fire to placate this man's ego. Mind you, he's also paying lawyer fees to his own lawyers. He's also burning money just for his own ego whenever there's so much financial suffering going on in the world. Right. And it's also content to him as well. You know, not only does he want to financially ruin our lives, he also wants to make content out of it so that the other egocentric freaks who take joy in others' suffering can watch it with amusement. It's like it's such a mental thing. It's so mental. Yeah, I got laid off this week after being at my advertising agency and working nonstop for 5 years. It sucks and I'm burnout. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. My dad dropped out of high school freshman year because he was making more money selling drugs on the streets than his parents and ended up having me when he was 17. That sounds like a fucking struggle. It does. Like, that sounds like a fucking struggle. And, you know, like, I know, like, even, like, talking like this, like, I know the foot fungi are going to be, like, accusing me of, like, manipulation. They're going to be like, oh, she's just acting like this to be manipulative. You know, they're going to be, like, basically, like, telling me what my intention is. And that's, I feel like, abusive to tell people you know them better than they do, so you actually know their real intentions behind their actions. That's literally abuser behavior. I don't know. I just know that because I've had people do that to me personally. You know, like, oh, you're only doing this to be better than. And it's like, oh, my ex did that shit all the time. Everything I did was some secret plot to annoy him. No, exactly.
Jimmy Kimmel is suffering.
Fungus Reddit post about one of Casey's tweets. What is this? Another day, another Casey tweet in which she acts as though she is the only person who has ever struggled with poverty in America. Girl, believe me, I know I'm not the only person who struggled with poverty in America. Like, the fact that they would even, like, say that just shows that they haven't really had any experiences similar to mine. Like, whenever, like I've been saying, whenever you grow up like poor and you see all of the suffering around you because of poverty and finances.
I love my Coochie shirt. Less than 3. Welcome back, mother. Missed you.
This would be like me tweeting at the county courthouse for ruining my life with DUIs I got before sobriety. Not the foot fungi comparing reacting to a video to driving drunk, you know, something that actually harms people. Like, do they not hear themselves? Sir, you crashed a car into a school. Don't blame me. I was drunk. I don't remember doing that.
Oh, wow.
Do you see how they're comparing actions that actually cause like harm to others to something where no harm whatsoever was caused. Do you see the level of hypocrisy and delusion? They have to be bots. I don't even know, man. It's just like, I got 3 within a year, so that may not be in my cards, but I've been in recovery for many years. Oh, this person got 3 DUIs in a year. This person got 3 DUIs within a year. Does this person realize the repercussions of them getting 3 DUIs in a year? A crime that actually is harmful to others and puts other people in harm's way. They realize that they got off easier for that than me potentially facing $200,000 in legal fees for reacting to a video, right? Like, I would take the drunk drivers, I would take the 3 times drunk drivers consequences over mine. What would that be? Like, what, maybe 20, 30,000, probably more like 20. What, a 12-step program? Like, fuck, I would even serve like, what, a month, 2 months, 3 months, like over $200,000 in debt. But, you know, go off, foot fungi. Keep on pretending that reacting to a video was the equivalent of you driving drunk and getting pulled over 3. I mean, like, that's not the only, that's only the 3 times they got pulled over, right? And they want to tell me, take accountability for your actions. Like, bitch, I reacted to a fucking video, but, you know, I'll take the 12-step program and the, you know, 20, 30,000, probably about $20,000 in DUIs. Like, does this fucking alcoholic piece of shit realize that they got off easier on a crime that actually does harm versus me reacting to a video? Like, these people are so delusional. It's like, the hypocrisy is unreal. I'm sorry I shot that guy, but I was broke growing up, so you can't arrest me. The way they're comparing me reacting to a video to violent crime is actually just fucking crazy. Like, are they okay? It's crazy to me that even facing down this lawsuit, she has done zero reflection. It's like, can they give me something to reflect on? Like, can they give me something to reflect on? It's like, I don't know. They really want me to reflect this much on reacting to a video? Like, oh my God, all of the harm that I've caused reacting to a video that dozens of other people reacted to. Like, let me reflect on that. All of the harm that I did by reacting to that video. Like, can they like extrapolate on that a little bit and just like give me a little bit more? Because I promise I will. I promise I'll do the reflecting. It's like, do you also want me to like go back like 10 years and reflect on downloading music off of Kaza? Or I guess it would, like, God, I'm old. It'd be more like fuck 25 years or something. But she mustn't be that concerned, or else she would just admit guilt, apologize, settle with the GoFundMe money, and move on with her life. Like, then the way that they're just like, apologize. It's like, you guys, you fucking morons realize I'm being sued right now, right? Apologize for what? Reacting to a video that dozens of other people fucking reacted to? She's trying to manipulate him. The way they're just like, admit that you were wrong. It's like, what am I wrong for? Like, the way that they're just like trying to hold me to the coals and be like, apologize. It's like, what am I apologizing for? it's like they don't spell it out, because if they had to actually spell out what they expect me to give them this like apology for,
Oh, wow.
it would look as ridiculous as it
Adorabelly
is.
7 just
One of her arguments that I've seen is, I did nothing wrong. I did do nothing wrong. I did something that dozens of other people did. The only wrong that I did in these people's eyes is not agree with Ethan that Hassan is a fucking terrorist or what the fuck ever. Poverty leads to extremely violent circumstances. Are they just that dumb, or just compulsively incapable of stopping the veiled threats? What do they mean, veiled threats? Like, now saying that poverty is violence is a veiled threat? What the fuck are you talking about, moron? Like, poverty is violence because poverty puts you in situations where you have to choose between
wow.
things like your
Antisocial
medication
Grace just
or
subscribed.
formula for your child. Poverty leads to extremely violent, troubling circumstances. That's a very dicey statement that could be taken a couple of different ways. What the fuck are they talking about? Are they trying to act like I was like threatening violence by talking about how living in poverty exposes you to violent things? Like, yeah, having money shelters you from a lot of the violence that people who don't have money have to experience. You fucking morons. Like, for one, being homeless and living on the streets is violent. You know, sleeping on the fucking streets without any fucking shelter, any fucking protection. Anybody could come up on you at any fucking minute and fucking kill you, beat you to death, like happens to homeless people. That is violence. That is a direct example of how poverty breeds violence. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Just like, we know you're playing the victim. Playing the victim? Girl, I don't need to play. Like, it is extremely fucked up what Ethan Klein is exposing me and others to. Like, Ethan Klein is exposing us to 200,000 to like, Ethan Klein is exposing us to hundreds of thousands of dollars in financial debt because of reacting to a video. Yeah, I think that sounds like pretty fucked up. And like, we are victims. We are victims of Ethan Klein's deranged ego. I don't know what he's paying his lawyer, but like, the whole game with this is Ethan being like, yeah, I have millions of dollars. I can afford to do like a frivolous lawsuit since I have endless money and they don't. And we all know that. I can just do whatever I want, right? Like, I can basically put them through this whole thing as long as I want. You know what I mean? Like, I guess like because of his money, he knows that the ball is in his court. Because of his money, he knows that the ball is in his court. And because of the fact that we have to crowdsource our defense, you know? Because of how expensive lawyers are, it just makes it like kind of a double whammy where it's like, even winning is still losing because I have to spend, you know, $200,000 to get to the win. If we even were somehow, like, if they were like, yes, Casey Tron is guilty, which, like I said, to make it clear, I believe in my innocence. I believe what I did was fair use. I was reacting to a video that everyone reacted to. I was engaging in discourse that everyone was engaging in. And Ethan Klein is only doing this copyright lawsuit, not to protect his copyright, because if it were about protecting his copyright, he would be suing all of these other people that also reacted to it, such as XQC and Asmongold. But as we all know, it's not actually about protecting his copyright. It's about impeding on free speech and silencing any of his critics. That's what it's about. And I fully believe that if it made it all the way to trial, that's what would be shown. But to get to the point where it makes it all the way to trial, I'm looking at $150,000, $200,000 after lawyer fees, after court fees, and all of these specialists and shit. You know, it's a lot of fucking money. And Ethan knows this, you know what I mean? So it's like he's using that to his advantage, basically. I really want to feel bad for them, but I'm totally flabbergasted as to why of them have just asked Ethan what he wants for a settlement. Like, it's like these people, like, I feel like they keep on, like, trying to, like, live in this world where they're like, Ethan's a good guy. He'll let them off. He's just proving a point. Give Ethan your volcano bong and he'll let you off. He doesn't care about money. You know, they keep on, like, living in this world where they think that that's what Ethan is going to do. But he's made it pretty clear that that's not what his intention is. You know, he's made it pretty clear that his intention is to completely and utterly financially ruin me, Denims, and Frogan, right? And like these people acting like that's not what he's doing, they're basically just not being honest with themselves so they can continue this like deluded, you know, like, oh yeah, Ethan Klein is actually the good guy in this situation. Right? It's intentional financial abuse. They just say shit and have no idea what settlement talks may or may not have happened, nor do they have any reason to know. Right? Casey is not poor. I don't know why she's dying on this hill. No one who's broke can afford the weed she's smoking and Labubu dolls. Like, oh my. Poor is when you're not able to have Labubu. Like, do you know, like, clocked you there? That's just, like, not even fucking true, though. It's, like, just them basically being like, yeah, if you're poor, you can't have anything. Like, do you know how many poor people were like, yeah, I'm gonna spend this $30 on a Labubu so I can have at least one thing that sparks joy underneath the mountains of fucking debt that I owe in my daily struggle to survive and keep shelter and feed myself. Oh, you have a Labubu though? You're not poor enough. Like, shut the fuck up, freak. But yeah, I don't even know why it's just like, it is just so crazy, like the level of hypocrisy from these people, how these people are like holding my feet to the coals, like apologize for all of the harm you've done. Whenever one, it's like, what's the harm? You know, they want me to reflect so bad. It's like, what am I reflecting on? Like, what is the harm that I've caused? You know? And they can't really spell it out because if they do, it makes it really apparent how fucking delusional they are. She made a whole year's income in a month and then came back and became Gandhi. Girl, what are you talking about? Like, I've been on this Gandhi shit. You don't know me. Like, I've been on this. You make more than most of us here. I mean, soon enough, we'll be going over my bills. Like, I'll be completely transparent with it. And yeah, like, I make a good amount of money. I make like $120,000 a year. And, you know, growing up having parents who made like $15,000 a year, I know how much money that is, you know? And I also want it to be clear, like, over the past several years where I've been making that kind of money, it's not like it's all just been going to myself. I've literally housed my family. I have helped my grandparents. Like I said, like last year, I was literally giving my grandparents like $1,000 a month because my grandfather had lost his job and they were potentially going to not be able to afford their place until he could get on Social Security. You know, also my dad, like I've helped support my dad. I've helped support my mom. I've helped support my younger sister who's trans and autistic, you know, like, yeah, I make a decent amount of money, especially for the Midwest, you know, but it's not like It's not like I've just been putting money in the bank, you know? I don't know why people want to pocket watch Casey. I think like people see like my sub count and they're able to do the math in their head and they're like, look how much money she makes. Like, why is she complaining? And it's like, yeah, sure, I make good money, but it's also like I support like 5 or 6 fucking people that are adults, you fucking moron. Like, and like, mind you, I'm also very anti-work. I'm extremely anti-work. It's actually like a lot of people would say that it's like fucked up how I am. Like they're like, you know, like the people that are like, well, everyone should fucking work. But, you know, like 2 years ago, I got my dad to stop working and we just got him approved for his disability. We literally got his disability approval last week. This has been 2 years in the making. Like, my dad was doing fucking manual labor. Like, my dad's like fucking 55. He's an ex-convict. All he's known his whole life is manual labor, you know? And it's like his body was just like fucking breaking down. Like, I literally just could not stand to see my dad like continuing to go to work like that, hard physical labor for fucking $17, $18 an hour. But yeah, over the past couple years, I've been helping support him while we get through this whole disability thing, and he just got approved last week. And now, one of the things that like really has me like so fucking irritated. Can we just like, and you guys know this because I have spoken about this for I feel like the past year. So my mom is a survivor of horrific abuse. My mom is a survivor of very fucking horrific abuse. And she really struggles. She lived with me for a little while, and I was like, you know, let's save up some money so you can get your own place. And I guess whenever my mom got her own place, like I knew it was like putting a band-aid on it. But my mom is also somebody who, because of her abuse, really struggles with anxiety and paranoia. You know, like everybody's out to get her whenever you live in a state for 4 or 5 years of being abused like that and the abuse goes away. Sometimes it's hard for you to like reframe. So you start looking for, you know, more harm that could be done to you. So it would make it really difficult for her to. My mom died overdosing on fentanyl. It sucks, but you aren't the only one. I don't know why you're like so obsessed with like invalidating. I'm trying to figure out where that comes from. I would never invalidate your struggle. If you were talking about how your mom suffered from fentanyl addiction and died because of drug abuse, I would never be like, well, sucks to suck. My mom was on drugs too. You know, like, I don't know if you can see like how twisted what you're doing is. I don't know if you're doing it intentionally to try to like one man me, or I don't really know what your intention is. I don't know if like you think you're like eating or what. But I really hope that you can start to reframe where your suffering comes from and where the anger at that suffering is directed at, you know? And honestly, like, I don't even know if they're like, I'm like, it's hard to even tell if they're serious or not. Like, they might just be making that up. But, okay, I was talking about like how my mom's been through a lot. And she lived with me for a while, but it was, you know, pretty difficult for her living here because she's somebody who really fucking has the walls up because of all of the abuse that she's endured. Like, it's hard for her to be around like other people that she doesn't know. You know, she's very fucking guarded. So it can just make it difficult to live with her. So about like a year ago, after she had lived with me for like 4 or 5 years, you know, she had saved up some money, and I was like, all right, mom, it's time for you to, you know, maybe go out on your own for a little bit. Like I needed a little bit of mental space. And whenever this happened, like, I guess like I knew that it was like, okay, this is like slapping a band-aid on it. She's not going to be able to, you know, like she's 57. She's not going to be able to continue like this whole rigmarole. Like we really need to get her like retired and on disability and in like stable living. So for the past year, I've been telling my mom, I've been like, let me get dad on disability. And once I get, you know, my dad on disability, we can start working on getting something for you figured out. We've had this plan where we're going to get my mom on disability, and we're going to set her up like kind of like a tiny home build on my sister's land. And this next year, like I've been telling my mom since like last September, I've been like, give me till September, let me get my dad's disability done, and then we'll start working on getting something for you figured out, because I know you can't keep on working. I know you can't keep on affording what you're paying. I know we need to get you in some sort of stable living conditions. And yeah, that's what this whole Ethan Klein lawsuit took from me. It took from me the ability to really help my mom get in a stable living situation, which really fucking sucks. But we're going to figure something else out. We're going to figure something else out. We're probably going to have to get her like a little loan or something to be able to get the building started and everything. I'm going to start applying her for disability and stuff now. But yeah, the ability to help my mom get stabilized over this next year is what Ethan Klein took from me with this lawsuit. And it really hurt so bad yesterday, like talking to my mom. And I haven't really like told my mom like the full severity of what's going on. My mom is like I said, my mom also has like a lot of mental problems, and she's also deaf. She can't really hear very well. But yesterday, whenever my mom came over, like this woman is like on the verge of like tears. She's just like, I can't keep on doing it. Like this place that I'm renting, it's too expensive. You know, like I'm working too much. My tinnitus is so bad. Like I'm not able to sleep. You know, and she's like asking me about, she's like, when are we going to start building this tiny home? When are we going to start getting this built for me? You know, and I like reassured her. I'm like, yeah, we're going to figure it out, and we will figure it out. You know, it just sucks. It just sucks that Ethan Klein took from me the financial freedom to be able to help my mom, you know? God, I hope she pulls through all right with your support. Oh, we're gonna pull through. We're gonna pull through. Like I said, we're gonna figure it out. It just makes it like I said, like I don't have the financial freedom to help her like I would otherwise. Like I'd been kind of banking on and promising her for the last year, you know? So that sucks. What entitles you to getting more and more money? When will it be enough? Girl, I have enough. That's why... Like, what are you on? Like, girl, I haven't. Did you not hear me? Did you not just hear me? Or are you deaf? Did you not hear how I was saying that, yeah, with the income that I had for the next year, I was planning on using it to help my mother build a home. And also, my chatters know this about me. One of the things that I always say is for me, it's not about having more money. Money is not my driving force. My driving force is stability. I want to get myself, my family, the people I love, and even more in a position where they don't have to fucking worry about money. And not worrying about money isn't about having more of it. It's about like being in a position where you don't have to, you know, like you have stable living, you have stable food, you know, you have your utilities taken care of, you know. Yeah, like it's not that's all I want. Like I don't want any excess. Casey, I checked my Sabia cards for you and you'll have a nice tender future filled with love. Oh girl, I know it. I know it. You know, that's the thing about me is, you know, sure, Ethan Klein will always have like millions and millions of dollars. You know, even if he like ends up losing a lot of like viewers and shit, it's like he's in a position where it's like he has so much money. It's like he will never be without money. You know what I mean? And while Ethan, you know, has his millions of dollars, I feel like that's all he'll ever really have. You know? Like, I have so many riches in my life. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, you know, the friendships and the community that I've created, you know, like not only online where I can, you know, speak to other people and like their struggles and their own experiences, but also in real life. You know, I have so many friendships, so many people that I don't even have to pay to be around me, you know, like, I have like all of my neighbors, you know, pretty much like multiple times a week. They'll come over and we'll have like a little fire outside, you know, we'll talk about different things. We'll talk about class solidarity. Yesterday, it was so funny. So like yesterday, like I told you guys yesterday, I did like another dose of shrooms. I've just been on it, you know, and I was it was like I told you I did some shrooms and my mom had came over and you know I was talking to my mom for a while and I was walking my mom out to the car and we were like talking in the driveway and my mom's like very deaf so she talks very loud and you know I saw her off and then I went on like a little walk around the block. And as I'm coming around, the neighbor across the street, he was like laying in his hammock, like I hadn't seen him. And he like came over and he was like, yo, what's going on? Is there like something bad happening or something? And I was just like, oh no, I was just talking to my mom. She just talks really loud because she can't hear. And he was also tripping on shrooms. He was like, yeah, I did some shrooms, so I've been up. And he was just like hanging out in his front yard. So we like talked for a while and smoked a joint and we were just talking about really like class solidarity and shit. And you know, he was talking about like being poor and you know, I was talking about like my struggle, he was talking about his struggle and like his crazy family. I don't know, it's just like I guess like I go on this tangent in this story because I was just talking about like all the fulfillment I have in my life that, you know, exists outside of money, you know? Like as much as money is important, money isn't everything, and money is all some people will ever have, you know? One thing about me is I'm a Sagittarius fire sign. I am a warrior. I am like ask the astrology girls. Ask the astrology girls what do you get whenever it's a Sagittarius born in fire sign? You get a fucking warrior. I'm a fighter. Like the thing that I've been telling myself too is that you know what I'm going through with Ethan Klein. I just want him to know that this isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've been through far worse. You know, like the suffering that he is imposing upon me is nothing compared to the kind of suffering that I've endured. You know, yeah, I don't know. I've been through much worse. That's good. Right, like I said, like I've had fucking firearms and shit pointed at me. Like I've put myself like whenever my mom was going through what she was going through, which was really horrific, you know, like I would go fucking head to head with this fucking burly ass man that worked in fucking construction all day, you know, hammering a, you know, like this guy, like, it's not like he was fucking weak. You know, this was a guy who like worked construction, who was, you know, strong. Like I went head to head with him fucking regularly defending my mom against him. Of course, he was too much of a coward to ever like hit me because he knew that I would press charges, but on the regular, it would be like, yeah, hit me, motherfucker, hit me, pussy. Like I'd be arguing with this man, like defending my mom, you know, like, and this was going on between, I would say, about 2012 to 2016. It was like a 4-year period of my life. You know, like I said, I thought that he was going to murder her. I thought that he was going to kill her. Like every call, it was like, is this going to be the call?
Just subscribed. 50
Damn,
months,
it was
mama.
really
How
fucking
fitting for the
bad.
downfall.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, mama. What really gets me, like, I feel like the scars that are like still left is just like what it did to my mom. You know, like I remember how my mom was growing up, and my mom was like, my mom, she still is very funny. She's a very funny woman. Sometimes like in an unaware type way, but sometimes she's just really funny. But you know, it broke her. And like she still struggles with it, and seeing how my mom still struggles with it, like seeing somebody do that to your mother, it really fucks you up. And I think it probably speaks to the person that I am today. You know, like you guys know that defending women is very important to me. Over like the past several years, I have had multiple women come to me. Like in the influencer sphere, I have had women come to me like, hey, this person did this thing to me. What should I do? Like I've had that happen at least like 4 or 5 times. And that means so much to me that women know that they can come to me.
wow.
Women who have never even
Praise
fucking
just
interacted
subscribed.
with me in this sphere. Women who have never even fucking interacted with me. They've just seen the type of person that I am and what I stand for. And exactly, they feel safe with me. And I don't know, like, it's so sad how common it is, but yeah, such a compliment to who you are, that they feel safe coming to you. Oh yeah, for sure. Like it means so much to me. But yeah, I think a lot of you already knew like the kind of like abuse that I come from. But if you didn't know, it probably makes a lot more sense now, like the type of person that I am. I'm a huge feminist. And not in like the cringe, like white feminism type way. You know, like, I don't know. Sorry, like I said, I'm rambling.